everyone. I wanted to go over journals for today and just talk to you a little bit about how I use them and how to set them up in your Blackboard course shell. So many of you have used journals already, so this should be easy for you. If you've only used discussion boards, the one distinction I want to make between discussion boards and journal entries is that discussion boards can be seen by everybody in the class. So once something is posted onto the discussion board, the instructor can see it, but also all of the students enrolled in the class can see it. And I like to use journals if I have topics that are a little bit more personal, or I'm really kind of focused on just getting the students to engage with a particular subject matter or idea. And it's a great low stakes way to get some grades in for them as well. So I'm going to share my screen and kind of show you how to set up those journals in your course. And I am going to go to my English 101 class. And if you notice on this left side, I've talked about the discussion board, the Blackboard menu before. If you want to customize that, you can kind of go and check in with my my video on how to do that, but you can see that I already have journals here. If you don't have journals there and you want to add them very quickly, you can just go up to that plus sign and you want to add a tool link, right? Because journal is a tool. And you just kind of go to this drop down menu here and it's all alphabetical. You'll see journals. You can call it whatever you want, journal entries or just simply journals. And then you would submit that. Again, you want to make sure that if you want to make that available to users, you check that box. If you happen to not do that, you can always kind of toggle here and hide the link or delete the link or rename the link. And there's little, sort of shortcuts there to do that as well. So my journals is available to my students at this time. If I click on that, you'll see that there are no journals set up just yet. So I wanted to show you how to create that journal. You simply click on this box called Create Journal, and you'll give your journal a title. So for me, it's going to be Introduction, okay? And here in this box, you can type whatever you want. You can ask a question. You can have, a prompt, whatever you want to include. Tell me about yourself. That's a really bad prompt, but just in the interest of time, I'm just going to put that in there for you. I also like to make sure, and I think I've mentioned this in my other videos, that you have it on 14-point font and that you make the font black. For some reason, my Blackboard has been defaulting to this sort of grayish font, and it's not very, it doesn't pop for the students. So I like to change that and make sure that it's in black. Again, if you don't want to make your journal available just yet, you can click on the No button and then you can make it available whenever you want. If you want to set the availability date, you can put in a date that you'd like it to display after. So let's say I want it to show up on Friday. I can put in that date and time that I want it to all of a sudden automatically show up. I have just in the past, I always check on my journals and my discussion boards, anything that I set to kind of release at a certain date and time, just to make sure that it is available to students, because there have been incidents in the past where I have set something to open on a certain date and for some reason it didn't. So that's one thing you want to just check up on. I don't index entries. You don't need to worry about that. The one thing I do is check this box called Allow Users to Edit and Delete Entries. So if a student has an entry that they decide, I just want to delete it and I want to start all over, you can allow them to do that by checking that. Or if they want to go back into an entry and edit it in some way, you can do that as well. Down here, some of you like to not grade journals, which is your prerogative, obviously. You can just use it as a way to get to know the students or have them just do some no stakes writing. But I do grade my journals. So if you click on this button, it will open up a whole menu of items below it. You put in the number of points. I know some instructors use, 10 journals a semester, each worth 10 points each, or some instructors give an actual point value or grade value to each of those journals, which is, again, entirely up to you. I leave this box checked because I want to know every time a student does a journal entry. I don't want to wait until there's 5 entries before I grade it, or multiple entries as I would in using the discussion board. I can create a due date for this. And so whatever due date I want, let's say I'm going to make it due January 27th. When you put a due date in, please note that it will show up on their calendar as well. So that when they click on their calendar, they will be able to see this journal entry assignment right away, and they can click on it and it would take them right there. Now, this is the place where you can add rubrics. So if you have an existing rubric, you can select that rubric. Or if you'd like to create a new rubric, you can do that. Or if you have a rubric that's similar and you want to kind of just modify it, you can create from existing. I'm going to do a whole separate thing on importing rubrics and things like that. But for now, I'm just going to select a rubric because I've already created one for this journal. And you won't see that pop-up menu, but there is a menu popping up for me and allows me to select the rubric that I want to use with this particular item. And then over here, I always ask my students, I always allow my students to actually see the rubric and look at the, the point values and the descriptions of each box so that they can kind of use that as a guide when they're writing their papers and when, they're doing any of the assignments. So I always check yes with rubric scores, and then I will submit this. Okay. And then this will be available. When you go to journal, you'll see that this information is here for you. So this journal is not available yet. It will be available after that date and time that I've already selected, which is the 22nd at 11:59 p.m. Now, if I want to, I can edit this at any time, and I can say, I want this journal to be available right now. So I uncheck this box. Okay. And I will submit that so that you guys can actually see what it would look like for the students. So now I'm going to go into the student preview, just so you can see what your students will see. And I always like to do this and check on everything just to make sure that my students are seeing what I see. So I'll click on that journals, and they will see that there's a journal entry due for them. They will click on that, and it will have that very awful prompt that I've already put in there. Tell me about yourself. And what they will do then is create a journal entry in response to that. They can title it whatever they want. So I tell students, feel free to, use whatever title you feel appropriate. They can type right on this text box, hello, and then they will post that entry. Okay. And then that entry will appear in my gradebook when I go to grade it. Okay. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to get out of student preview. And then it kind of looks like this little notebook paper, kind of like a real journal entry. They'll be able to see it once they've uploaded it. And then I'm going to exit preview and go to my journals here. Okay. And then you can see, I just created an entry as a student, and I can look here in my journals and see that there's one new entry. I can also, if I don't want to just go and read journals, I can go down here to my grade center and look at anything that needs grading. Okay. And if I click on that, it will show me Kira Robolato has posted a journal entry. I'd like to read it. It's very succinct, as you can see. Again, if you're grading by rubric, this makes your life so much easier. So I can open this journal rubric right here. I can show the descriptions that I've created, and I can just go through quickly and decide how well they did their journal entry. They have an 88. I can save that rubric, and then I can add the feedback to that learner and submit it. So the student will see that feedback, and they will also have the grade right there in the grade book for you. Okay, so again, journals are a really great way to interact with students. You can use them at the start of class if you'd like. If you're doing an L-Run class, you can have students kind of jump into Blackboard and work on journals and then talk about them, or you can have it as a homework assignment to be ready for class. And I think it's a great low stakes way to get them writing, get their sort of creative ideas flowing when you're going to be talking about a new topic. So I hope that was helpful, and I hope that you try out journals. And if so, let me know how you like it.